Welcome to Flutter Engage. We're so glad to have you join us virtually wherever you are. It's been a tough year for many, and so we're thrilled to share some good news as we show you some of what we've been working on and announce some new things that we think you'll like. Our theme for this year's event is to highlight the flexibility and portability of Flutter as a complete UI toolkit for building beautiful apps for any platform. And today is a key milestone for Flutter, with the launch of Flutter 2, a major upgrade to Flutter that builds on the momentum and foundation of previous releases and opens up a broad range of new target platforms for production use. Over the next hour, you're going to hear us talk about Flutter on Android and iOS, as well as web and desktop. You're going to hear from companies like Microsoft, Canonical, and Toyota. And you can learn more about how our work on Dart provides a unique technical envelope for your code, providing a portable, productive, and robust combination of capabilities for building apps. Flutter is the first UI platform that is designed for an ambient computing world. And this vision is unique to Flutter, a portable toolkit for building beautiful, native, fast experiences wherever you might want to paint pixels on the screen. Our goal is to shift you from having to start with the platform you're targeting and focus instead on what you want to create. Some UI toolkits impose tight constraints on what you can build. They limit your creative expression to what fits within the toolkit. But Flutter allows you to handcraft beautiful experiences where your brand and design comes to the forefront. Flutter is fast. It compiles your source to machine code. But thanks to features like stateful hot reload, you still get the productivity of interpreted environments, allowing you to make changes while your app is running and see the results immediately. And of course, Flutter is open, with thousands of contributors adding to the core framework and extending it with an ecosystem of packages. So the big news in Flutter 2 is that we broadened Flutter from a mobile framework to a portable framework, unleashing your apps to run on a wide variety of different platforms with little or no change. As of right now, there are already over 150,000 Flutter apps out there, and that number has doubled just since last summer. These apps come from big teams at big companies, as well as entrepreneurs and startups who simply want to share their idea with the world. And we thought we'd show you some of our favorites. So let's talk about what's in Flutter 2. You can think of Flutter 2 as a free upgrade for your app. We've shipped about 10 updates to Flutter since our original launch, but in this release, we add support for something worthy of a major version upgrade, a major increase in the number of users you can reach. If you've built a Flutter app so far, you've probably been thinking primarily about iOS and Android. But with Flutter 2, your app can target 4 additional platforms: Windows, macOS, Linux, and the web. And when you add iOS and Android to that list, you can see how uniquely flexible Flutter is, with native support for 6 different platforms and the ability to tailor the experience for each platform without compromising performance. Flutter is perfectly suited to both rapid iteration and high-quality results. So to demonstrate Flutter's versatility in action, we asked our friends at GSkinner to create a demo app that spans all these platforms. Let's show you what they've created.
Hi everyone. Here at GSkinner, we've created a variety of Flutter apps that compiled to and ran on multiple platforms. But for this project, we wanted to go beyond that and build something that purposefully considered the norms, user expectations, input devices, and idioms for each platform to create an app that truly felt at home on every device. We also wanted to leverage the unique strengths of each platform to power a creative workflow. After some brainstorming, we decided to build a scrapbooking app called Flutter Folio. Let's take a closer look at how the app works on different devices. Mobile devices are great because they're portable, follow us everywhere, and they usually have a camera built in. Given that, we focus the small screen experience around capturing content. Let's say you were on a walk and you bumped into Tim and his rabbit Carl. You could use the mobile-friendly UI to quickly navigate to an existing scrapbook and reminisce about shared experiences. Or navigate to your furry friends folio and snap a few pictures of Carl to add in later. Of course, larger screens provide a lot more space and improved precision, which makes them ideal for creative work, like editing a scrapbook. So when you get back from your walk, super excited to add in your new photos of Carl, you can fire up the app, maximize it via the native controls and the custom title bar, and use your scroll wheel or arrow keys to navigate to a scrapbook you're looking for. While editing, you can use desktop-specific idioms like multi-select, native menus, keyboard shortcuts, context menus, and scroll wheel zoom. But of course, not all large screens are the same. When working on a touch device, the UI adapts in a variety of ways, such as providing larger hit areas and exposing functionality through contextual buttons instead of right-click menus. Last but not least, we wanted to target the web. These days, browsers are capable of almost everything you can do in a native app, so the full app runs there as well. But the web is unique in the ease with which content can be shared. We leverage that strength to let you share a read-only version of your scrapbook. For example, to share your amazing new page with Tim and Carl, so they can follow along in real time as you make new updates. This URL is actually live right now if you want to go check out Carl. Of course, we barely skimmed the surface today, so I'd like to invite you to visit flutter.gskinner.com, where you'll find more info, source code, and links to the app. We also learned a ton building this, and we're excited to share that knowledge on our blog and via Twitter. Ultimately, we were able to build an app that runs great and feels at home on 3 form factors, 5 OSs, and the web, while reusing over 95% of our code. We built Flutter Folio with best practices in mind. You can check out the source code to start making your apps platform adaptive today.
If you want to experiment with this app further, the source code is available at flutter.gskinner.com. And for more on great design practices with Flutter, check out the separate talk with Filip Hracek that we're posting live today. Of course, there are hundreds of other new features in Flutter 2. We continue to make progress on foundational areas that you and your customers care about, improving performance and stability, supporting the latest UI trends and widgets, and increasing accessibility. We've completed our work on a new state restoration API. We've support for running on Apple Silicon. We've added multi-line text editing and keyboard shortcuts. We've added interactive scroll bars. We've implemented null safety throughout the framework, and we've closed nearly 6,000 issues. The full list of pull requests merged is a 200-page document to give you a sense of the size of this upgrade. And we have a blog post with a lot more details. Flutter isn't just being used outside Google. Over 1,000 engineers inside the company are using Dart and Flutter to develop apps today, representing over 30 different teams. And the apps that you see on this list here are already shipping using Flutter. One of the largest apps from Google using Flutter is Google Pay. And Timothy Jordan recently sat down with Piyush Ranjan, who's the Vice President of Engineering for Google Pay, to ask him about their experiences with Flutter. Let's hear what they had to say.
Hey Piyush, Timothy here. Ever since Google Pay moved to Flutter, we've been getting some questions from our developers. Was it an effective move for you, and would you recommend it to other teams?
Hi, Timothy. Thanks for asking. In a nutshell, I'll say yes, it was absolutely effective. You might have heard of Google Pay, but let me first tell you the scale of the problem. We are trying to launch in 30 countries on 2 platforms, Android and iOS, and serve users in all these countries. We have 150 million plus users. Now, as a result, we have 2 code bases, right? iOS and Android, and there's a total of 1.7 million lines. We also had feature disparity. The feature being implemented in each was happening at different rate. Tech debt was building up, and we needed more and more engineers to keep up on development on these code bases. So we started looking at Flutter, and after weighing the pros and cons of a rewrite and a migration, we decided to rewrite everything. The good thing was we ended up with 35% smaller code base, 1.1 million lines compared to 1.7 million lines. And at the same time, our tech debt went down by 90% on a per engineer basis. Now, once the rewrite was done, we also found that our engineers were 20% more productive in terms of feature implemented because of the rewrite. We were also able to merge all the duplicate release process, experimentation, the launch process, security reviews, because now everything was done on the Flutter code base. Plus, the best part was with every engineer working on the same code base, we were able to take the iOS engineers and Android engineers and get 50% engineering efficiency immediately because they were all working on the same thing. Now, if I had to go back, I would absolutely make this decision all over again. And to answer your question, yes, I will recommend it to any team that builds on multiple platforms.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thanks for joining us today, Piyush.
So one of the most interesting things about mobile development is that phones come in so many different shapes and sizes. And one of the latest trends is foldable phones. One great example of this form factor is the Surface Duo from Microsoft, which combines the best of Android with the Surface team's hardware engineering expertise. And we're happy to announce that Microsoft has been contributing code to Flutter over the recent months. Here to tell us more is Guy Merrin, who leads Surface Developer Experience Engineering.
In the last year, we've seen new device form factors emerge, the foldable and dual screen devices. This new form factor is great for productivity when you're in your home office or when you're on the go. The device adapts to you. When you're creating content, playing a game, watching a video, typing, or just reading and browsing the web. For us, the mobile developers, it means new scenarios and user experience to explore in our apps. First, your app can now run on 2 screens and not just one. You have more screen real estate to show content and interact with your users. When thinking about 2 screens, you can also utilize various dual screen design patterns, such as the least detailed view, the companion pane, and other ways to organize your application UI. The foldable form factor also provides opportunities for your app to share content with another app. For example, when 2 apps are running side by side and by adding drag and drop functionality to your code. We want developers to take advantage of foldables and dual screen devices regardless of the platform or app that they're building on. Today, we're happy to announce that we're collaborating with Google and bringing foldable support to Flutter. We're contributing code to enable Flutter apps to take advantage of these new opportunities with devices like the Surface Duo, but also enable it on other devices, like from manufacturers like Samsung and others. Let's see a demo now. The best way to demo anything Flutter is by using the Flutter Gallery app that we are all familiar with. This is the Surface Duo emulator, which you can download today. Let's run the Flutter Gallery app and look at the widget. The app is started on a single screen, so let's span it across both screens now. As you can see, the app reacts natively to dual screens and repositions the assets across both panes. This is typically the first step that you will take in your app. Start thinking today of the new layouts that you may want to show now that you have 2 screens. But Flutter is all about widgets, so let's see those in action. We've added foldable support for the existing Flutter widgets. For example, when you use a dialog, it will now be hinge-aware and will display according to your choice on the right or left pane. We've also modified other modal routes, pop-up menus, and other widgets. Let's move on. We've added a new widget to help you position assets on 2 screens. We call it a two-pane widget. You can use it to place assets on the right pane or on the left pane. It will also display correctly on a single-screen phone or a tablet-like device. The two-pane widgets makes it easy to support all these new form factors. But enough with demos, let's dig into some code now. We've added display features to Media Query. You can use it to query the type of displays you have and the position of the hinge. When you're using the two-pane widget, add your own widget and content to either the left or right pane. Let's summarize what's new. Foldable and dual-screen devices are available now and ready for you to try them with your app. You can use a dual-screen device or a dual-screen foldable emulator. The code and widgets we've previewed here are ready for your review and your feedback. We want to meet developers where they are at, and today we're super excited to share this news with you, the great Flutter community. All the samples and widgets are open source and ready for your contribution. We're excited to see what you build with them in your app. Thank you, and back to you, Tim.
So let's talk about portability. Last year, we gave you an early preview of web support. So today, we're delighted to announce that Flutter's support for the web platform has hit the stable milestone. This is a huge leap forward for Flutter, building on the portability of Dart, the power of the web platform, and the flexibility of the Flutter framework to deliver the same experiences on the web as on mobile. And it's exactly the same Flutter framework. It's not a fork, it's not a different edition. The web is just another device target for your app. So not every web page makes sense in Flutter, but we think that Flutter is particularly suited for app-centric experiences. Things like progressive web apps that integrate with a user's environment, including installation, offline support, and tailored user experiences. Single-page apps that deliver a client-rendered experience, and existing Flutter mobile apps that want a fast path to the browser. So I thought it'd be fun to chat with Dion Almeida, who is responsible for the web developer ecosystem here at Google, including, of course, the Chrome browser, and get his take on how Flutter fits more broadly to the web platform as a whole. Dion, thank you for joining me today.
Thanks a lot, Tim. Thanks so much for inviting me to share my excitement, really, about Flutter 2 and the availability of web support. We think the web is an incredibly broad tent. It was born as a content platform and enables richer capabilities for publishers than ever. But we've seen this open platform evolve into a great one for use cases such as commerce and, of course, apps. Now, the broad tent has allowed for many web frameworks and approaches to innovate, offering you, the developer, choice. And there's plenty of room for Flutter to join the fun. Now, the web has many strengths, including ubiquity and reach. So if you're building a Flutter app, you now get to reach users outside of app stores. And with the power of URLs, users across operating systems or device types could be directed to any part of your app, from links that are shared by friends, clicked on in search, from an email, from anywhere. So I remember when Spotify came into CDS one year and shared their story of their first progressive web app, and how it drove so much engagement because many users were simply looking to listen to a song, and were now able to go straight to that action versus facing any install friction. High-quality PWAs like these are now possible due to the web pushing on two areas. First, platform improvements. These enable fast performant rendering, and we know this is really important to the Flutter community. Second, bringing capability gaps to the web in a soft, trusted manner. Project Fugu is our main umbrella for this effort. And PWAs are just a great fit for Flutter because of the marriage between, on the one hand, a world-class developer experience for app development, and with the other, the web platform ingredients that can be incorporated by the Flutter engine, so you get improvements for free as both Flutter and the web evolve. Now, we've seen this at work, as Flutter's web support has transitioned from tech preview to beta to now production. The Flutter team were able to try different rendering approaches, starting with the DOM, but then CanvasKit taking advantage of new APIs to help with ergonomics and speed up performance. This is where WebAssembly and WebGL open the door for massive optimizations, which the Flutter team has done wonders with. We're collaborating in many other areas, such as improving text metrics, new accessibility APIs, and more. So I hope that you and the Flutter team collectively keep pushing us further to enable the next generation of experiences, because we really do know that we've only just begun. So with the Flutter and Chrome team working well together, we can iterate on web platform features that Flutter can abstract and make easy for you to use, so you could just focus on your app. Now also, users are clamoring for high-quality PWAs. So Flutter gives you a great way to ship them, and I can't wait to see what you, the developer, do here, because I've seen how the Flutter community always delivers on high-quality, creative experiences.
Dion, thank you so much. It's great to have you join us.
Thanks again, Tim. Appreciate it.
So since we announced beta support for the web, we've been focusing on some major architectural improvements that extend and optimize the core Flutter framework for the web. Perhaps the biggest thing that we've been working on since the preview, as Dion mentioned, is performance, and we've been making a ton of progress. We recently switched our default for the desktop browser over to a new CanvasKit renderer that combines Skia and WASM to couple a lightning-fast web graphics engine with the productivity and ease of use of Flutter, and we're seeing huge performance gains as a result. So I want to show you an example of this with a demo from Felix Blaschke, who's a developer in Germany who's been experimenting with Flutter graphics on the web. Even more fun, I can take the same demo and run it multiple times simultaneously on the same machine, thanks to the power of Flutter. So performance is important, but it's not the only thing that we need. A Flutter app that's running in the browser should feel like a web app. So we've been adding features to Flutter that help you use the best of the web. For example, hyperlink widgets, text autofill, control over address bar URLs and routing, and PWA manifests. And thirdly, we want to make Flutter web experiences feel right, whether you're using a mobile phone or a laptop with a keyboard and mouse, and regardless of what shape and size your browser window is. So we've added interactive scroll bars and keyboard shortcuts. We've increased the default content density in desktop modes. And we've added screen reader support for accessibility on Windows, Mac, and Chrome OS. I want to show you one example of the kind of app that shines really well on the web. iRobot is the company behind the popular Roomba robot vacuums, but they also have coding robots that empower the next generation of innovators. Let's take a look at their Root robots.
Your child may have what it takes to become the next great digital visionary. You just have to allow it to take root. Coding shouldn't be something just computer scientists do. It should be something everyone can do. And Root makes that possible. It's easy for coding to feel abstract, but Root teaches computer programming in a new way. It starts with a language so simple that a young child can use it even before they know how to read.
iRobot built their app with Flutter, and today they're launching the web version of their experience. So here you can see the app running in the browser using the same code as their tablet app. On the left side, you can see their visual code editor, which lets you drag and drop commands and flow structures that will run on the robot. And on the right-hand side of the screen, you can see a simulator that shows a virtual robot and lets you test out your app before running it on the real thing. They have a whole library filled with different project ideas and 3 different coding levels within the project aimed at different age levels. And of course, everything you see here is built with Flutter, including the simulator, with the same code shared between iOS, Android, and web browser. It's really cool to see iRobot using Flutter for educational purposes, and I hope you'll check it out yourself at code.irobot.com. Of course, we're using Flutter's web support ourselves. One example that will be familiar to most of you is Dartpad, our web-based scratch pad for exploring Flutter and Dart code. We also use it throughout our documentation, so you can see how to work with a widget inline in your browser without first having to copy it into your app. There's so much more to say about running Flutter on the web, and so we have a breakout session dedicated to this topic, where Mariam Hasnani and John Ryan walk through building and deploying a web app with Flutter. So you've already seen how portable Flutter is, with the ability to go from mobile to web. And the great thing about building on open source foundations like Skia is that we can take this work further still, including 3 platforms that together reach well in excess of 1 billion users: Windows, Mac, and Linux. Today, we're delighted to announce that we're also opening up desktop to the stable channel of Flutter, enabled with an early release flag. This release lets you produce standalone executables for each platform: macOS, Linux, and Windows. And you can even use the developer tooling provided on each platform to submit apps into the store. We're excited that everyone can now run Flutter natively on their development workstation. This isn't just our work, it's been a community partnership. Microsoft has contributed a number of pull requests to the Flutter engine to use the latest Windows Runtime APIs when running on Windows 10. On Linux, Canonical has been a fantastic partner, and I'd like to have them tell you about some of their contributions to Flutter.
Hello, I'm Ken Van Dyne, Engineering Manager for Ubuntu Desktop at Canonical. When desktop application support in Flutter was announced, we saw an exciting opportunity to make Linux distributions, including Ubuntu, an attractive target platform for Flutter app developers. Flutter's native multi-platform story is growing rapidly, and we wanted to be at the vanguard. We worked with the Flutter team to bring desktop Linux support to Flutter, making it easy for app developers to publish their apps for Linux. By making Linux a first-class platform in Flutter, we are inviting application developers to publish their apps to millions of Linux users and broaden the availability of high-quality applications available to them. We not only enabled Flutter for Linux, we also worked with the Flutter team to publish the Flutter SDK as a snap in the Snap Store, the App Store for Linux. By publishing the Flutter SDK as a snap, we've made it very easy to install and set up your development environment to build mobile, web, and desktop apps with Flutter on Ubuntu. Even with just these basics in place, we're at a very exciting point in our Flutter journey. Linux support for desktop apps is rich enough that we can recommend it for developers to use today. We continue to support Flutter for Linux, keeping it in sync with other desktop platforms. But that's just the start. We also want to give developers a rich toolbox of window types to create effective user interfaces across platforms. To do so, we will work to bring full multi-window support to Flutter for desktop across all the desktop platforms that Flutter supports. We are working with the Flutter team at Google on the specification now, and we will start the engineering work very soon. Of course, plugins are an essential part of the Flutter app ecosystem as well. We are working on enabling popular Flutter plugins for Linux, including Flutter support for Firebase, Bluetooth, network connectivity, desktop notifications, and more. Furthermore, while enabling app developers to bring their apps to the Linux desktop, we thought it would be nice to bring along the Ubuntu style as well. Ubuntu has a very distinct style, which we are proud of. We call this style Yaru, which is a community-led effort within Ubuntu. We have worked with the Yaru team to bring Yaru to Flutter, which takes material as the base and applies the Ubuntu style, colors, and fonts. This enables app developers targeting Ubuntu to match the distinct Ubuntu style with ease. Now that we have enabled Flutter for Linux, for other app developers, it's time to further our commitment by building our own Linux apps with Flutter. As we've already announced, we are developing our next generation Ubuntu desktop installer in Flutter. Soon, every user who installs Ubuntu desktop will be doing so with our new installer built in Flutter using the Yaru style. Along with the new installer, the out-of-the-box experience for devices preloaded with Ubuntu will also be powered by Flutter. Choosing the installer as our first app written in Flutter is a bold move, to say the least. It's the first thing our users see, and as everyone knows, that first impression is critical. It not only has to be beautiful, it has to be robust and reliable. It has to run on a wide range of hardware, ranging from old PCs or laptops to the latest hardware on the market. The user experience can also be very complex, with advanced dialogues for disk partitioning, supporting a huge variety of possible configurations. We feel Flutter is up for the task, and choosing it for the installer is telling the world that choosing Flutter for Linux apps is a great choice. The desktop team had not only worked to make Linux a first-class citizen in Flutter, Flutter is the default choice for future desktop and mobile apps created by Canonical. We look forward to working with you. Thanks.
Thanks so much, Ken. It's a really big deal for us that you picked Flutter for the very first experience users have of Ubuntu, and we're looking forward to continuing to work with Canonical. So we talked about how the key theme for the Flutter 2 release is portability, upgrading your code to be able to run on 6 different platforms: iOS, Android, web, Windows, macOS, and Linux. But there are even more screens out there beyond the kind of operating system that you might have on your phone or your PC. So I'm delighted to introduce another customer who is using Flutter to bring beautiful user interfaces to light in a critical part of their own product. Toyota is the world's biggest selling automaker, with over 9.5 million vehicles sold in 2020. And with cars, beautiful, tailored user experiences matter. Toyota are building Flutter right into the heart of their core product. And so I want to hand over to Daniel Hall to share more about their plans with Flutter.
Hello, I'm Daniel Hall, Chief Engineer at Toyota Motor North America, as well as Global Chief UX Designer at Toyota Connected. Basically what that means is I'm responsible for leading design and development for our next generation in-vehicle infotainment systems. Today, we're excited to announce that Toyota is partnering with Flutter to bring a best-in-market digital experience to vehicles by building infotainment systems powered by Flutter. Using Flutter marks a large departure in approach from how in-vehicle software has been developed in the past. While we're not ready to share our final product just yet, we'll take a little bit of time to talk about why we chose Flutter and how we're using it at Toyota. So, why did we pick Flutter? At Toyota, we continually evaluate options for bringing the best possible user experiences to our customers. Flutter immediately caught our eye for a number of reasons. Foremost, Toyota customers expect a consistent and high-performance in-vehicle user experience to match the overall quality of Toyota vehicles. Flutter's rendering engine provides good performance in a constrained environment, and features like AOT compilation give us the consistency we're looking for in an in-vehicle technology. Flutter also allows us to provide an in-vehicle user experience on par with what customers have come to expect from their smartphones. Everyone can probably think of a bad experience they've had interacting with touchscreen apps outside of their mobile phones. These apps are often sluggish or just don't feel quite right. What we're doing with Flutter at Toyota directly addresses that problem by leveraging Flutter's cross-platform mechanics. Flutter's done a great job of packaging touch mechanics that just feel right no matter where they run. Finally, after noting Flutter's performance traits, we were really sold on Flutter's developer experience. Despite releasing our apps on a single target platform, we leverage all the multi-platform tools that Flutter provides for the pipeline from design all the way to release. Even as an alpha feature, desktop support combined with hot reload provides a fast development workflow. The variety of different release targets that Flutter supports, such as iOS and Android tablets, are useful for all sorts of physical and digital user testing. We can even leverage web support as an integration into design tools to improve our feedback cycle with product designers. Of course, this developer-friendly workflow isn't just for our own benefit as we create software. Our ultimate goal in using Flutter is to streamline in-vehicle software development, resulting in a better customer experience. A technology that enables high productivity with a relatively low barrier to entry allows us to create a tighter overall feedback loop in our design and engineering processes. These faster iteration cycles allow us to collect and integrate feedback from our customers earlier and more often, which helps us create the best experience for our customers. We talked a little bit about why we chose Flutter, but what are we doing with it that is unique to Toyota? Well, to start with, we're using Flutter's Embedder API to leverage the technology in our infotainment systems powered by automotive-grade Linux. The Flutter engine's architecture makes it relatively easy to support embedding in our target environment. It's just a matter of cross-compiling the engine and wrapping it in an embedder. The Embedder API is fairly easy to use and allows us to integrate our Flutter apps within vehicle systems. Additionally, we've created several in-house tools that enhance Flutter's developer ergonomics by extending them to include our design process all under the same umbrella. Our overall goal is to support a workflow that enables design tools to generate code so that validation and running software is immediate. Both Dart's language design and the Flutter SDK's software design have enabled us to support such tooling. For example, Flutter's approach to declarative UI and code as configuration allows us to very easily perform code generation based on designs, without any complicated or confusing middle tiers of configuration. Most importantly, while developing these Toyota-specific tools, Flutter's open source principles and high-growth developer community have been critical to our success. Without the support of the large and open ecosystem, we couldn't extend Flutter to enable our in-vehicle use cases. At Toyota, we see working with open source software as a positive investment towards our in-vehicle user experiences, and we look forward to playing a role in the open source Flutter community. We can't wait to share more details of Toyota's partnership with Flutter in the near future.
So, from cars to web browsers to laptops to phones and tablets, Flutter truly is unique as a UI toolkit in its flexibility. By bringing together beautiful, fast user experiences with a productive development environment that lends itself to exploration and iteration, all delivered as free open source from Google. There's nothing quite like it. Let's now go one level deeper and talk about Dart, our client-optimized language for fast apps on any platform. Why does Dart matter? Well, Dart combines a unique set of capabilities for building apps. For starters, as you've seen already, Dart is portable with compilers that generate highly performant Intel and ARM machine code for mobile and desktop, as well as highly optimized JavaScript output from the web. The same Flutter framework source code compiles to all these targets. Secondly, Dart enables true iterative development with stateful hot reload on desktop and mobile, as well as language constructs designed for the asynchronous concurrent patterns of the web. And thirdly, Dart offers Google-class performance across all of these platforms, with sound null safety guaranteeing null constraints at runtime as well as development. There really is no other language that combines all three of these capabilities together, and it's the reason why we often talk about Dart as the secret sauce behind Flutter. Now, we've not been standing still with Dart, so Bob Nystrom is going to tell you about some of the work we've been doing in Dart to upgrade your app.
Thanks, Tim. I'm very happy to tell you that we have shipped null safety for Dart. So now the type system helps you eliminate null reference bugs. This is the biggest change to Dart since we added sound static types in Dart 2. With null safety, we didn't just add non-nullable types to the type system, we also added a slew of features like smarter flow analysis, late variables, and required named parameters, so that your Dart code isn't just safe, but easy to write. These changes are so big, in fact, that the only reason we aren't calling this release Dart 3 is because we managed to ship null safety without breaking your code. Instead, we allow null safe code to coexist with null unsafe code. This lets you migrate to null safety incrementally when you want, and we provide automated tooling to help you. When you migrate, in return, Dart gives you more than most other languages with non-nullable types do. Null safety in Dart is sound. That means that when your program is fully migrated, the type system guarantees, like a mathematical proof, that no non-nullable expression can ever evaluate to null. This guarantee is great for confidence in your code, but it's even more valuable for the compiler. Chips are so complex today that we need sophisticated compilers to make the most of the hardware. Compiler optimization is often about detecting that some operation isn't needed and eliminating it, but that optimization is only safe to perform if the compiler can prove that the operation is never needed. Sound null safety gives the compiler that proof when it comes to null checks. Here's some Dart code. The getAge function simply returns the value of a field on a given instance. Here's the assembly code our compiler generated before null safety. Since the parameter to getAge could be null, the compiler has to emit a null check before the field access. Here's what you get today with null safety. Since the field's type is non-nullable, there's no need to check for null. The generated code simply accesses the field. Our 10 instruction function is now only 3. That's a small change, but real programs contain thousands of these checks. So eliminating them means less code to download at install time and less to execute at runtime. Of course, working on Dart isn't just about new features. We are constantly improving the performance of existing features too. A quote I love from an algorithms book is, "Efficiency determines the boundary of what is possible." When we make something twice as fast, your app can be twice as rich and interactive. Here are a couple of other improvements we've made. The Google Pay team recently rewrote their flagship app using Flutter. They ramped up fast and wrote a ton of Dart code, so much that they started hitting the wall where the size of their application was going to harm adoption. So we worked to unblock them so that they could use Flutter's compile size optimizations, which got their app 14% smaller than it was with the default compilation settings. Servers often speak UTF-8, but Dart's internal string representation is UTF-16. We found out that UTF-8 decoding was a bottleneck for the assistant team, so Aska on the VM team rewrote our decoder, hand-authoring some parts in x64 and ARM assembly to take advantage of vector instructions. The result is anywhere from 2 to 20 times faster than before. When you want to access features unique to a hardware platform, you need some kind of interop system, which Flutter has long had using asynchronous platform channels. Recently, we've been working on a new, lower-level synchronous way to call native code named Dart FFI. That system is now out of beta and ready for production use. With null safety out the door, we get to turn towards the next batch of language features. I want to talk about one area we're exploring to give you a feel for how we look at language design. Whenever I talk to developers coming to Dart from Kotlin, the top 3 requests they have are non-nullable types, extension methods, and data classes. So we have the first 2 now, so let's talk about the last one. With the data class, you define a type with a set of fields, and then the language gives you a constructor, equality, hash code, and copying operations for free. It's essentially baked-in behavioral policy. The problem is that methodologies change faster than programming languages. If a few years from now users decide that persistent data structures are better than immutable value types, we can end up with deadweight language features. So what would it take to be able to define policy at the library level? How could we enable a Dart user to essentially add data classes to the language themselves? So what I'm talking about here is metaprogramming, code that produces other code. Metaprogramming is already common in Dart using code generation. If you've used Angular Dart or the built value package, you've already run Dart code that generated other Dart into your app. But code generators can feel heavyweight and opaque and kind of bolted on. So we're exploring adding static metaprogramming features directly to the language. Our goal is to enable frameworks like Flutter to eliminate some of the verbose code you have to write today. I'd love a metaprogramming feature expressive enough that you could use it to define a data class system that feels as natural as data classes do in Kotlin. Now, we don't know what the solution will look like yet, but we're actively exploring the design space. Okay, that's a lot to absorb about the language, but a fast language is no use if you can't productively write code in it. So next, Kenzie's going to talk about developer tools.
Thanks, Bob. Hi, everyone. I'm Kenzie from the Flutter team, and today I'll be showing off 4 new tooling highlights available with Flutter 2. The first new feature we'll look at is one we call Flutter Fix. As part of Flutter 2, we've done a lot of work on consistency and tidying up the framework to make our APIs more approachable and to make your code cleaner. Now, I know what you're thinking. Framework improvements are great and bring all sorts of new and improved functionality to you, but usually they also come with some breaking changes to your code. Well, fear not, because what we've also done as part of Flutter 2 is created a tool called Flutter Fix that does all the heavy lifting for you to migrate deprecated APIs in your codebase. For example, I have the budget tracker project open in IntelliJ, and this is a sample app that hasn't been updated in a couple years now. So now that I updated to Flutter 2, there are some analysis errors to address. You can see that it's using a couple deprecated APIs. So let's click on one of these warnings and see how we can solve the problem. I can see the deprecated member here, as well as the quick fix icon. And the quick fix option allows me to automatically migrate my code to the new API. So now I can see my code has been updated and the warnings have gone away. We've added quick fix rules just like this one all throughout Flutter. And as we move forward with new breaking changes in future versions, we'll add new quick fixes to help you migrate your code. Flutter Fix helps us keep the API fresh without breaking your code, so give it a try. And now that we've moved our budget tracker to Flutter 2, let's move on to the second feature I'll be showing off today, null safety in Dart. To do this, we'll fire up the null safety migration tool with the Dart migrate command. Right now, my code is in a state where null safety is not enabled, but the migration tool will enable Dart null safety and help me migrate my code so that it's compatible with the null safe runtime. So I'll open the tool, and this tool analyzes our code to determine what can be non-null and what should be nullable. And from this, the analysis tool displays suggested changes with the explanations for those changes. So for our case, all looks good to me, and I'm just going to go ahead and accept the changes and apply this migration. So if I come back into my code, I can see that my code has been updated to null safe Dart. And now that we've migrated our code to null safety, we can still use nullable types, but by default, our object references will not be nullable, eliminating a whole class of bugs from our app, making our app smaller, faster, and more robust. And that's just the tip of the iceberg on null safety in Dart and on the migration tool. So check out the null safety deep dive to learn more. For the third tooling highlight of the day, I'm going to show you some new Flutter debugging tools. So let's do a little bit of work on the budget tracker app. I'll get it running here next to IntelliJ. And if I play with the app a little bit, everything looks good, but I want to make sure that everything looks good also in landscape mode. Oh, and it does not. So it looks like we have an exception here in the run console. And I can see that a render flex overflowed by 282 pixels on the bottom. Now, looking at this error output, I can actually directly navigate to the error causing widget in my code. But that's not as helpful as we'd like, because what I'd really like to be able to do is go directly from an error message to inspecting that widget in Flutter DevTools. But luckily, we have created a new feature that allows me to do exactly this. So when an overflow error occurs, your IDE will show you a message in the bottom right window of your screen. And this message describes the error that occurred, as well as gives you the option to inspect the error-causing widget in the Flutter DevTools inspector. So let's do that. This opens up the Flutter inspector directly selected to the error-causing widget. And moreover, we can see this directly in our IDE. Using the inspector in the past would have required you to open DevTools in your browser, but now we've actually embedded DevTools directly in your IDE. So whether you're using VS Code, IntelliJ, or Android Studio, you'll always have access to this powerful tool that gives you insights into your running Flutter app. So let's get back to the problem at hand and use the Layout Explorer to solve this issue. I can see that I have some unconstrained heights here. So let's fiddle with the flex values in the Layout Explorer to see if I can fix the problem. And there we go. Problem solved. The overflow error went away. And now I know that the single child scroll view was just missing a flex value of 1. And that means it needs to be wrapped in a flexible widget. So what I will do is come over here and wrap this single child scroll view in a flexible widget. So now it has the flex value of 1 that it needs. And if I come into the run console here, do a hot reload, I can see that there are no more exceptions and the issue has been resolved in the app. Over time, we'll be adding similar functionality for other common errors to make it easier for you to go from problem to solution using Flutter DevTools, all without leaving your IDE. And last but not least of our tooling highlights, I'm going to show you some new features in Flutter DevTools. I've already shown you how the inspector can be embedded in the IDE, but you can also open DevTools in the browser, where you'll not only have access to the inspector, but also more sophisticated debugging tools for things like performance, network, memory, and more. Some of this new functionality is available in the Layout Explorer itself. By popular demand, we have added the ability to show a visual representation of fixed layout details in the Layout Explorer, in addition to the flex layouts we already support. So now you can debug layout issues for all kinds of layouts. We've also added an app size debugging tool to DevTools. So let's see this in action with the Budget Tracker app. I have already created the size analysis file for my app, so I'll go ahead and import that and analyze the size. We can use this tree map in the tree table below to explore our app size and visualize the space occupied by different classes and libraries. Looking at the overview of my app, the assets are a little concerning. I only use one image in this application called Headshot, and it's rendered as a really small avatar in the app. But I can see here it's taking up 1.6 megabytes of space, which seems like way too much for such a small image. So now I can revisit my assets and optimize the image or use a smaller version, and then I can verify the improvement using the diff viewer in the app size tool. But unfortunately, that is all the time we have, so be sure to check out the Flutter 2 announcement post to see all the highlights and new features. To get these tools, all you have to do is run Flutter Upgrade to get the latest Flutter 2 build. Thanks for tuning in. Back to you, Tim.
Thanks, Kenzie. Our developer tools are another example of the unique flexibility of Flutter, built with Flutter, for Flutter, and integrated into whatever tool you're running. And for those of you who want to hear more about how Dart null safety works and how to migrate your apps to null safety, check out the breakout session from Leif Peterson. Okay, so we've seen how Flutter 2 expands Flutter from mobile to web, desktop, and embedded devices. We've talked about Dart as the secret sauce that provides Flutter with a portable, productive language runtime with new features such as sound null safety that offer increased robustness and performance. But the Flutter ecosystem is much broader than just what we provide. In fact, there are over 15,000 packages now for Flutter and Dart from big companies like Amazon, Microsoft, Adobe, Huawei, Alibaba, eBay, and Square, to packages like Lottie, SQLite, and SVG, as well as individual developers like you and me who are packaging up useful functionality for others to use. One great example of a useful package is from Sentry, who are publishing a major update to their Flutter SDK for their popular crash management and release tooling. This package provides tools to help developers ensure their app is healthy on all their target platforms, offering deep insights into exceptions and crashes, whether they occur in Flutter or in underlying components. We're also today announcing a major update to our Flutter plugins for several core Firebase services: authentication, Cloud Firestore, Cloud Functions, Cloud Messaging, Cloud Storage, and Crashlytics. We've updated all these packages to support sound null safety, and we've overhauled the Cloud Messaging package in particular. But there's another major package we're releasing today, and I want to hand over to Zoe Fan to tell you all about it.
Thanks, Tim. Hello, everyone. My name is Zoe. I am a product manager on the Flutter team. There are many ways that mobile developers get paid for their work. Monetizing apps via ads is probably one of the most popular paths for many mobile developers. Today, we support ad formats such as overlay banner, interstitial, and rewarded video ads. However, many developers have been asking us, where is inline banner? Where is native ad? Because in order to create a beautiful and seamless user experience, developers want to display ads as part of their content in existing Flutter view and customize it to match the look and feel of the app. Therefore, today, we're excited to announce an open beta for the Google Mobile Ads SDK for Flutter. This is a brand new plugin that provides inline banner and native ads in addition to the existing overlay formats. Also, in this plugin, we're unifying the support for Ad Manager and Ad Mob, so no matter what size publisher you are, this plugin is able to tailor to your scenarios. We've been piloting this plugin with some of our early customers in a private beta program, and many of them have successfully launched their apps with these new formats. Sua Musica is one of them. Today, it is our great pleasure to have Alan, the CTO of Sua Musica, to share his experience with us all. Let's welcome Alan.
Hi, I'm Alan, and as Zoe told you, I'm the CTO of Sua Musica. Sua Musica is the biggest Latin American music platform for independent artists in the world. We support more than 16,000 verified artists in publishing and distributing their music on the platform to more than 10 million monthly active users. Our content is 100% user-generated, meaning anyone is invited to upload music they've created. In 2020, we rewrote our Android and iOS apps in Flutter and started testing the Google Ads beta plugin. Since we are a free platform and we need to monetize each user the best way possible, we must have a great UX UI, but how it's done today, with overlay banners, we can hardly call it an okay experience. Because of that, we were excited to be invited to participate in the private beta of the Ads plugin, where we could implement those banners in the widget tree, at last, just like a normal widget. Simple and clean. This made it possible for us to create the best experience possible for our users, while still monetizing from advertising. Okay, let me show you how it works. We want to put our banner right here on this part of the album page, so when we scroll, it will scroll together. We start by creating a stateless widget that receives ad unit name and a list of sizes. Then we will define our banner as the publisher banner ad that receives our sizes ad unit, listener, and the publisher ad request. We can never forget to load the banner. On our listeners, we're gonna listen for the loaded and the failed events and print on screen if needed. On our container now, we just need to put our width and height and the magic widget that will do the trick, the add widget that receives our defined banner. Now we just need to add our newly created widget to that part of the page. It's the SM banner. Add unit, I'm going to put the add unit defined before. It's the add mob banner app. With the sizes, I will put the large banner. It's the 320 by 100. Just need to save, hot reload, and it should appear right now. Okay, we forgot to save the widget. Okay, hot reloading. And there's the banner. It should also appear in every page. As you can see, it scrolls together with all the widgets as we wanted. That's it. You don't have to only take my word. We've had amazing metrics showing an increase of performance since we made the change. When we launched the new app with the Google Mobile Ads SDK for Flutter, we saw a 350% increase on impressions with a 43% increase on CTR and 13% increase on our eCPM. That's it. Hope you guys liked and saw how easy it is to insert ads in our apps with the new Ads plugin.
Thank you, Alan, for sharing your experience. And also, huge thanks to many other developers who helped to beta test this new plugin and make our mobile ad solution more robust. The Google Mobile Ads SDK for Flutter is available today for you to download from pub.dev. We hope this new plugin helps you unlock more revenue growth for your Flutter apps. If you're interested to learn more about how to monetize your apps via ads, we have a breakout session later, and we look forward to seeing you there. Back to you, Tim.
Thank you, Zoe. You know, community is at the heart of all we do as an open source project. We have over 750 contributors to the core Flutter framework alone, to say nothing of the tens of thousands of you from around the world who organize and attend meetups, write blogs and samples, create packages, and file issues and feature requests. Flutter is an attempt to raise the bar for UI development everywhere, and so it's not just a Google product, it belongs to all of us. As someone who's been privileged to be able to travel around the world and meet with people using Flutter, I'm particularly excited by the impact Flutter has made in Africa, where there are some of the most creative and entrepreneurial developers I know, drawing attention to an often overlooked part of the world. So I wanted to introduce you to a few friends now.
I'm a Flutter developer from Lagos, Nigeria.
A software engineer from Ghana.
Mombasa, Kenya.
Port Harcourt, Nigeria.
Luanda, Angola.
I'm a Flutter dev from Ghana.
Towards the end of 2017, I just saw that Flutter is released and it's by Google.
I discovered Flutter in 2018.
I discovered Flutter from communities.
From a friend of mine.
A friend of mine introduced me to Flutter.
Turning my designs into full-fledged applications was always a painful process until I stumbled upon the Flutter website early last year. I spent a while building a few CSS-inspired effects for web using Flutter. What I love most is the creative freedom it gives you. It's been fun.
So I've built a couple of apps for clients. I have built a couple of user interfaces and shared them on GitHub. you have the freedom to arrange code the way you like. That is really important to me, and it fascinates me.
With hot reload, you can basically sit side by side with the designer and change themes, colors, designs, and preview it as you're doing it. And I've worked on 5 different real-life applications using Flutter.
Flutter gives me complete control over my interface. There are no limits to what we can do with Flutter.
I get a couple of my inspirations from my own designs, and then designs from Dribble, from other people, and looking at existing native applications, I can be able to say, okay, what if I try to build this in Flutter?
I love design, and it's always exciting to bring designs to life. I love how I'm able to build consistent UIs across platforms, and I love how my apps run very fast.
So Flutter has opened doors for me.
I have gotten a couple of jobs from Flutter.
I get the opportunity to earn a living for myself doing something I really do enjoy.
It has enabled me to work with companies in India, in the UK, and in the US. This is my Flutter story.
That's my story.
And
Hello.
Hello. Hello. Hello.
Okay. Hello, everyone who's joining us today from wherever you are in the world. Feel free to drop down the country, the city that you're joining us. I'd like to start with a quick introduction about us and today's host, as well as introduce later our speaker. So I'm Frida, co-organizer of GDG and WTM Budapest. I'm actually joining in from Istanbul, Turkey. We also have co-organizer Zsigmond today, who's in backstage and always supporting us on the technical side. So thank you very much, Zsigmond, for that. We'd love to see your face whenever possible. And today we also have our Budapest Flutter team, Muriel from Flutter Budapest. Would like to welcome you and would love to hear from you a little.
All right, so hey there, everyone. Nice to be here with you all. I'm Muriel. I'm the organizer of Flutter Budapest, and I'm actually a Brazilian software engineer, and I've been living here in Budapest for 4 years already, and I work at Digital Natives, a company where we just recently started to really work with Flutter, so we are about to launch our first app in production, so that's pretty exciting. Apart from that, I've been involved with Flutter for, I don't know, since 2017, I think, first time that I see it. And it's very nice to be around here with you all.
Thank you. Thank you for that, Muriel. We're very happy to be hosting the event with you and hope to have more events together. Today, I'm actually very excited to be hosting our speaker from Turkey, Sercan Yusuf. I'd like to say just a couple of things before we invite him here. I met Sercan first time through a Flutter event. And today I'm happy to say that I'm hosting him here, Flutter developer who has inspired me to learn more about Flutter, get into the communities, and engage and network and develop myself in this field. So, and Sercan Yusuf who will be joining us from Istanbul, Turkey. He's a senior Flutter developer at LeanScale. He's also a speaker, joins different events as a speaker on Flutter, and also he's the lead organizer at GDG Istanbul. So yeah, would like to have Sercan here, I guess. Yay!
Hello,
Great.
hello,
Hey
hello,
there.
hello, guys. Hello.
Hey, why am I not wearing my shirt today?
I
I was
don't know.
supposed to, right? Damn it.
I also took my mascot near my.
Oh, I forgot mine in the office.
Somewhere there, mine's like flying, so you just don't see it.
Great.
Welcome, Sercan. Really nice to have you
So,
here, and
thank
so
you
excited
guys.
to.
Thank you for
Can you hear me?
appreciate.
Yeah.
Okay, I am very appreciated to be here. First of all, thank you so much for hosting such kind of event to encourage people and give some opportunities to people to update themselves about the new features, new updates on Flutter. We're gonna talk about them. There are lots of stuff to talk. But first of all, thank you so much for such a event and hosting me as well. And I'm very appreciated to be here.
Yay! I actually remember the first time when it was the Flutter event and got to hear from you. That was the first time, and this is the second event. But now I'm actually hosting it, and I'm really excited about that. I've been very inspired, and I'm constantly very motivated by your work, by your speeches that you join other events. We will drop down your social media so people can check on as well. And yeah, we're ready whenever you're ready. We can start and hear the highlights of Flutter Engage. What happened? What are the new features? And we can start whenever you're ready.
Okay, I am always ready. So I am always ready for the Flutter.
Yay!
Great.
We'll wake you up at 3 a.m. You'll be ready. We know that. Awesome. Okay, then. Thank you. We'll start with Sercan's presentation, and then meanwhile you can ask your questions in the comment section, and we'll follow up with Q&A and closing.
Great.
So welcome again, everyone. We are gathered here today to talk about news that we have at the last event of the Flutter that we called Flutter Engage. There are so much news, there are so much updates, and there are so much significant and important stuff to talk about. But first of all, I want to introduce myself. Also, Farida introduced me very well. Thank you one more time from here. I know you can hear me, but okay. Let me introduce myself. And my name is Sercan Yusuf. I'm actually working as a Flutter developer company called LeanScale. It's a Dubai-based company. And besides that, I am also one of the organizers of Google Developer Group Istanbul. So I'm actually inside of Flutter since its beta version since 2018 May. Actually, I first heard about Flutter in 2017 DevFest series, but didn't have many experience on that. But when I first after that I heard on Google I/O, I immediately started developing Flutter and developing myself about Flutter and doing some technical talks on that and updating people and updating community building, trying to build a community on that. And that's we are. It's been more than 2 years, and I'm still on that, still developing Flutter. And Google didn't put the Flutter in its graveyard anymore. So we are here and we are celebrating our new version 2.0, like Flutter 2.0. So let's talk about the features. What we have news with like Flutter 2.0, especially Flutter Engage event. But first of all, I want to talk about some great feature of Flutter that we have, because Flutter is very fast. It's so fast, it's beyond your imagination. Because in the event, when I watching the Flutter Engage, I just realized that I suddenly become a web developer too. I'm also a mobile developer. I am developing Flutter apps for Android and iOS, but suddenly I saw that I just become a web developer, and after a couple of minutes, they released some other news features on the Flutter, and after a couple of minutes, I just realized that I just become and get some more titles, some couple of one or two titles for my development backup. So that's why we have Flutter in our feature, and that's why we are shouting its name all the events, like write Flutter, develop Flutter, and keep yourself updated with Flutter, because it rocks. So on the last event, as many of us know, we have new features, new platform upgrades on Flutter. We already can develop apps for Android and iOS on stable version, and we can develop for this time, like we can develop apps on web and some of other stable, like some of other desktop versions on beta and master channels. But after Flutter 2.0 updates, like they released that the all desktop versions become stable, and also the web version that we are waiting more than 1 year, it's become stable. So now your Flutter apps, your code base can also can be generate a web application for your app. So after that, yeah, Flutter get enormous, get bigger and enormous. So we have more than 150k apps on stores, like on Google Play and App Store, and many other stores. So in past 2 years, it become so crazy, and everyone. So every developer I say hello, and every developer I talk with, it like he or she just write an app and put it store after a week. So it's been crazy so past 2 years. So and it will be go more crazy, and Google takes leads on that part, because many of their products, they are giving chance for Flutter. They are especially developing some of their apps with Flutter. It become okay. It become good Flutter for us and for the developer ecosystem, and we will continue our developments with that. But beyond this updates and this great stuff on Flutter, like the enormous stuff and 102k app, there is a community to take to get the chance and get more stuff for us, like prepared more stuff for us to build our apps, to develop our stuff, to watch, to learn, and to keep updated all the stuff about Flutter. And I also I always want to tell about like Flutter is equals community, because without community it can't be Flutter. It can be get bigger so fast. It can be get so many hype, and it can be get so many stars on GitHub maybe, or it can be so many packages we have on PubDev at the moment. Because when I started first developing Flutter, there are a couple like hundred some of packages maybe on PubDev, that many of them like 90% of them developed by Google. And at the moment like the community takes the most of that part, and everyone has a package, everyone develops, and everyone can develop a package. And the way we passed our last 2 years, also the Flutter part take and get more easier to develop packages and like serve them to the community. It gets more easier, and like we can develop and push ourselves more and more to like use Flutter. And besides that, like I have to say that because when I first started develop Flutter and entered and after a day I keep my decision, I dive into like Udacity and Udemy, and like start searching about the courses like Flutter, and that there is none. And at that part we have none of courses like built by Google or some others. But at the moment when I write some Flutter, and forget about Flutter, when I write the F word somewhere in the course sites, there are tons of blog posts, videos, and stuff to give us the knowledge about Flutter. So that's the checkpoint we have. So yeah, about the news, what we have with Flutter 2.0, we have the depth is stable at the moment. So if you have some applications that already written with Flutter, congratulations, you can now update your like migrate your project, and can have also the support for web without any code changes on your code base. So what is the great things about the web part? So now you can develop progressive web apps with Flutter, or you can have single page applications with Flutter maybe, and you can add some I already told about Flutter or your existing projects. And there are some main keys that can we have to point out, like on the web part. Like we already talked about PVA support, but there are canvas renderer we can talk about. And there are keyboard shortcuts can like automatically like used for scrolling, and you don't have to like describe any more features, or like write some more methods to describe them. And there are some URL strategies that can solve the known problem about URL, that on the web parts, like when you write some slashes with URLs and go on the web page like build it with Flutter, we had some routing problems on that parts, but at the moment most of them are fixed. And by using the Newly navigation package, you can handle all the stuff with URL parts. And we have Newly scroll bars, like fixed and updated, and theming, like customized all the stuff. And we have newly desktop accessibility for when we saying desktop accessibility is not the Flutter desktop part. It's like accessing the web parts, like using the DOM from desktop, like from your computer, like using your browser. You can use all the desktop privileges on the website that you develop with Flutter. So with that part, we can have like modern browser support for our apps. Next, for the desktop part, I have to be honest that I didn't wait about at the Flutter Engage that they gonna release the macOS, the Windows, the Linux part altogether. I barely can expect about the macOS because it's more than close the developer ecosystem as a like operating system, but I didn't expect the other two. But also I surprised so much when heard about them. So yeah, at the moment in the stable version, we are having our support by Flutter stable version to convert our application or to give support to the Windows, to the Linux, and to the macOS operating system with a single code base or with a single Flutter project. And besides that, there are also support for dual screen part. Like also some guys from Microsoft wrote a good documentation and good blog post about that explains all the things. But I also want to mention some part of it, like now with the dual screen, like as you know, the technology changed, and there are some tablets that can foldable tablets or foldable screens we have nowadays, like talking about them, and they are in our lives, and we can also manage these separate screens with Flutter. There are some two or three particular methods that you can use to manage all the process on the dual screen part. So yeah, especially you can solve user one part of the screen as a list and one part of the screen as detail, or 2 pages, or like dual view, maybe some single view and the settings page on the next part. So the thing is, like when we get the update about the dual screen, there are some new updates on media query too, because there are no anymore only one screen that we manage, or that we can tell to the media query that give me the size of the height, give me the size of the width. Okay, it can give you already the size of the particular all the connected screens height or width, but it can be happen with the hinge ones. So there is a new keyword hinge we have on the media query part, and if there is there is not null hinge, so that means we have hinge and there is a 2 screen of our device, and we can also take our hinges widths or heights. So yeah, if there's a hinge, and it will tell us here's a hinge and here's a dual screen hinge, and we can have the width or height, the hinge part. So showing the dialogues and the models that we have that we develop, we can now choose which screen can be shown for the dialogues, or the second one or the first one. So we can manage them especially. And for the next part, and as you can see, the dialogues can be open on the first screen or the 0 one. And for the next part, we can use the widget of 2 pane. It gives us the opportunity to separate our widgets for the particular screens, and set the proportion of our pane. And we can also decide if if the width can goes up to the 500, you can like give priority of that widget, that screen, and take the second and give the secondary widget to the part like in the side of the screen, and we can decide all the things for that, like as you can see on the picture, like we have equal screens on the one part, and the other part like we have if the width passes from 500, the priority gives to the screen B. And for the next we have the most biggest thing in our lives since we started developing Dart and Flutter. Yes, guys, we have null safety on Dart very newly, and we can now migrate our codes, our legacy codes, to the null safety. And there is no worries about the null exceptions, because if you write your code with null safety and can manage all the stuff as you want, and you know about the null power of the null safety, can use power of the null safety, there are no more worries about null expectations. So here's our agenda. So I wanna talk about the null safety, because it's so much problem on our lives at these days, and especially after the null safety came to the Flutter, I decided to go and migrate some of my legacy codes to the null safety. I passed some of my days to trying to migrate and understand all the stuff, because it's not as easy as you can see. So first of all, as the documentation says to the null safety migration, like it's tell us like you can wait. Okay, we can wait, but until when? And it can say like you can wait until all of your packages that you are using on your code has their versions that give supports to the Flutter null safety. That means Dart 2.11 and up. So yeah, we can wait until that, but if there is some packages that cannot be migratable, like or the maintainers like put it away the package and didn't give support to the package anymore, and our code base depended to that package. So what is gonna be? So we will need to migrate anyway. So anyway, in the near future, today or whenever you want, but we need to migrate that particular cases. We will have that particular cases in our migration. So first of all, okay, we can wait, but after we wait, what we gonna do? We can migrate our packages code. Like if there is some packages that didn't migrate it, like we are using on our project, we can give support to them, or if we have some packages, we can also start migrate them to give support to the community and as well. So the third one, we can after do the migration on our project, it says like we can statically analyze to our packages code or to our code, like after migrating all of our packages, and then we can test our workflow if everything went good, is everything working as it be, and then we can publish of our packages or of our code, like whenever we want after migrating. So first of all, barely we can understand which of our packages is gonna be migratable. Like imagine that you have you are using 20 packages in your code base in your Flutter applications, and you have to you decided to start the null safety migration. First first thing first, you have to do like write this comment and see which of your packages can be migratable, and which of them cannot support can give support to the null safety, and why. So you can go to the pub dev and see them. So which one of them having support or not. And after that, when you wrote that particular code in your terminal, you can see of all of your using packages which one of them giving null safety support and which one of them not. So after that, like you can upgrade your all packages code, or all your packages version with like Dart pub upgrade with like null safety, as you can see on the screen. But in that part, it can cause some of problems like upgrading all the project, and you can barely see and possibly see the error message like the package A is dependent on the package B, and the package B also dependent to the package C. So you have to migrate the C first, then to can be migratable the others. So you can possibly see that kind of error. So what it's gonna be in that part? In that part, the terminal also will gives you some of our commands like Flutter pub upgrade, and gives the specific names that can be migrated, that the packages that can be migratable. And there is some bunch of command which includes all the migratable library names in your code. And when you pass it again in the terminal, in the command line, you can only upgrade that the packages can be upgradable, can be migratable, and not touch the other stuff. And it can be like the solution in the first time, and in the second time, if that part cannot work, congratulations, you can have to like handily migrate all your stuff, like when it says like C depends on B and B depends on A, yeah, you have to go to find to A, you have to find to the newer version of the A, you have to migrate that, and then B, and then C, and then run the code again, and it will cause some error again, and it will continue until all the packages and all the errors that solved. Then after you are saying like we passed that part, like after you are migrating all the packages, there are also some changes, some code changes on your code base that depends on the packages code. So after you fixing all the stuff and all the error parts, especially depending with your packages, and please not to touch the Dart version and the other null stuff thing in your code. Not upgrade yet your Dart version, just upgrade your packages code, packages version. And after that, then you can able to, if you don't have any red underlined code or some errors in your code base, you can write like that Dart migrate, and the command can start runs if there's non errors. So after the Dart migrate, you can see the some happening stuff, and then possibly if there is some other packages that not migrated or that not have the migratable versions at the moment, you can see like some errors that kindly says you, okay, your code is okay, your code is migratable, but you have some of packages that and these kind of packages and these packages cannot give support to the null safety, so we cannot go through with your Dart migrate command. But instead, it says instead you can run your command with like Dart migrate and skip import check, and that means you are giving promise to your code base, like okay, I know all the stuff. I know some of my packages are giving support to the null safety, and some of them are not. But I am taking all the responsibility, like migrating all the stuff, and I want to go through and migrate all my model classes and all my null safety things in my code base. And after you're promising and handshaking with your Flutter ID, Flutter framework, then it successfully makes the migration, and then you can see on the web browser like all the stuff that migrated, and also you can apply the migration, and all the stuff can be changed immediately, and you can complete your null safety migration on your project. So that's my part, and that's the end of the session that I prepared. And there are so many stuff about we came with Flutter 2.0, like integration tests, some of new packages, and some platform upgrades. Like also we are at the moment able to write code on the embedded cards with Flutter. So yeah, Toyota have a partnership with Flutter. So I was expecting Tesla, but it only be Toyota. Anyway, maybe for the next event, if Elon watch me at here and hear me that part, and maybe Tesla for the next events. But yeah, that's been it. And I have couple links here. I also can share it to the chat that you can see for the what about the Flutter 2.0 and the migration, and for the dual screen accessibility and support. So thank you so much for listening to me. If you are here and can reach this part of the session.
Great. Yay.
Hey.
We're back.
Thank you, Sercan.
Thank you, Sercan. Yeah, that was really awesome from the beginning till the end. Always so clear. Was so onto the point. I loved it. Let me see if we have any questions meanwhile, which I think may not.
First of all, before chat, do you have any question, guys, about Flutter? Because I know you are so many interested about Flutter and trying to do some kind. And I know you, Muriel, you are working with Flutter on your current company, I guess. And I also you also told not so inside on the Flutter part, but you know some of the parts of the and dynamics of the Flutter. So before the chat, did you have some particular questions that I can answer, that I can help you on your development part?
Oh, let me see. One thing that I remember that we don't have a very clear definition on what we want to do in the particular app that we are developing right now is navigation. There was a first version, there is a second version now, there is some other auxiliary libraries. So do you have any recommendation on where to go?
For that part, when I first started developing Flutter, I used Fluro, but it's not recommended anymore. So after the Fluro, I just used the simple navigation 1.0 for the, but that it comes with Flutter framework, not any addition packages. But after that, when I find a package called Autoroute, I barely love that, and did all my development upon Autoroute, because it simply generate all the routes, and you can connect, and also you can use your navigator key, like you when you want to navigate between your screens, or when you want to navigate out of context stuff from notification and from stuff. Autoroute will help me very much, but at the moment, after I done my migration 2.0 and also upgraded the Autoroute package, I saw a couple problems on that, and it's like I saw that it very much depended on context part, and I'm not gonna recommend the Autoroute anymore. So barely it seems like we have to pass the navigation 2.0 that Flutter also recommend for us. So yeah, Flutter 2.0 can solve all your stuff, and also with the web support that they gave to the Flutter stable part, the navigation 2.0 also will help you about your like URL navigations and the slashes and the key stuff, and will be helping you on that part too. Like internal linking and the stuff. So my recommendation is navigating 2.0 at that.
Got it. Did you get any other question?
No, but we have like big fan group of Sercan here. People are like, all I see is like a lot of hearts here and hugs here and lots of love here. So I see you're quite popular on that site, Sercan, and that's really great. And I'm also one of the, we call it Sercan fan out there. I always, even on the previous first presentation that I got to hear from Sercan, for someone like me who had absolutely no tech background, but joining in the tech communities, it was the first time that I heard from Sercan. So for me, it was explained in such a clear and detailed way that got me really inspired to learn more. Recently, I also joined for Flutter Challenge that was right before Flutter Engage. So that was a nice kind of flow into it, and learning about the updates as well. I do have a question for you though, Sercan. What do you think? I mean, it's quite general. Just curious, what do you think about the new partnerships happening for Flutter? You mentioned about Toyota. Where do you see it actually going for? Maybe future partnerships as well.
For the future partnerships, I don't have any idea, but for the current event, I also expected that the partnership with Tesla, like we can able to write some of applications on the Tesla panel. I just wanted to have that opportunity, but
why don't you offer that to Ellen on Twitter? We're happy to retweet you.
I also wrote a tweet about that and mentioned the Ellen, like why you didn't do some kind of partnership with Flutter, like we enable us to write some apps to your cars. But
right, well, maybe for the next update, I guess.
maybe for the next time, and but the like except for the partnership, I can say like for the future development and the future development stack, we are going as a developer ecosystem. I can say like Flutter are taking the lead, as you can see from the project, from the newbie developers that starting developing with applications with Flutter. As you can see from the stars on GitHub, Flutter is taking the lead and taking the majority. And imagine like you are learning one framework and you can do all the stuff, and from all the screens can you can see like from starting from Android TVs, like the desktop, the web, and the mobile, all the stuff. And besides, they are putting some boards, cardboards near that like development area. So it's so amazing, and like as I said on the beginning of my presentation, like Flutter is going so fast, and I just become like web developer and become like desktop developer, and gain many other titles 2 minutes later. So yeah, that's fast we are.
Well,
So
great. We do have a question from Daniel here. Hi, could you suggest which state management package to use for big web app projects? Thank you. And thank you, Daniel, for your question.
For the big web app, first of all, I have to mention that I never developed, I didn't develop any big web app project with Flutter. I developed with Flutter, like web project with Flutter, but not the scalability that you mentioned. But there are many state management approaches that you can use with that kind of stuff. First of all, block is very known part and very simple one that you can use all over the part on your Flutter, like without do any separation, mobile or web. You can use block. Mobix, maybe Mobix is very attractive and doing very good stuff on these days. As a company and as a developer, like software developer, like standalone developer for myself, I am using the stack architecture, like Fiddle Stack. If you know about the guy and the block, the Fiddle Stack, I am using that architecture on my apps, like as a stacked library for state management approach, because it's having me like very familiar, because we are saying all the stuff view models, and we can describe our view models when we are launching our main widgets or screens. It much familiar for me for the use that kind of state management on my apps. But it's totally up to you, and before you, it's totally up to your product. And there are also Redux and Remofoot, some other state management stuff you can use, but at the end, it all depends on you.
I can add a few words about that one.
Yeah.
We have a co-organizer of the Flutter Budapest meetup. He's actually on the chat, I think. Peter. He works in a different company than me, and he did some Flutter web projects, and we were chatting in the background already to have some talks about that. So maybe in the future we will have something to answer your question. Maybe Peter can bring something.
Great.
Yeah.
Great. We have another question. Should I read that? We have a question that says, would you recommend to use a headless CMS as a backend of Flutter for smaller web projects? Examples, headless, Drupal, or else? Okay.
So, okay, it's coming from you guys. Like,
no, I don't know what you're talking about.
Okay. So there are some what is name? The one is named Angel, and there are some other like packages for especially Dart to able to you write backend and like backend stuff or the service application by using Dart. Not especially Flutter, but by using Dart. You can also write a backend for your services. It can be CMS, it can be whatever you want, and you can manage all your stuff there. If you decide to go some RESTful stuff, like getting or posting some stuff and managing some things on your backend, it can be able. You are able to do that kind of stuff with the package Angel we have, and some other I am not remember all of them, but you can do some research about it, and you can find there are a couple that enables you to do that. How about using Firebase as a backend? It's like the most simple solution and most simple runaway stuff. Using Firebase as a backend. It's okay. Like you can like Firebase it communicates with Flutter very well. There is no problem like using the Firestore or the real-time database with Flutter, and it all the stuff working well. But until when you gonna use Firebase for the beginning application, for the beginners application? Okay, I recommend Firebase. You can use that. You can use your authentication with your Firebase, but when you going big and thinking about the out of concept, some big stuff, you have to have some backend stuff, services, and some authentication processes. Luckily, no.
Yeah, we have a comment from Peter. Luckily now, web app development is 98% the same as mobile. We also use the stack, but now we're using hybrid with RiverPod and custom store. On the API level, we have GraphQL API.
Great.
Yeah.
Hey,
yeah.
Peter.
Yeah.
Yay.
it's okay. And when all the when we are gonna talking about like web is the same with mobile, and it's same. And I was on that part when the subject comes on that part. I'm can't stop myself to thinking about what if we are having mobile app via using Flutter from single code base, and from that code base we also can write a web application. And what if using web application and install that icon on your screen of the mobile, barely you have you are unable to open your application from web and from mobile from the same two icons, and there are some glitches on that. So I'm went crazy some two nights before to thinking about that, but I'm gonna try someday building a mobile application from same code base, and also generating a progressive web app from the same project from the web plan. But yeah, there are two of them are useful, but depends on your customer or depends on your audience. So is your audience need your app on your phone, or is your audience need your app 5 minutes of their day, to dive in the website and see some kind of stuff and exit. So that makes the priority of the stack. So what if both? Yeah, if it's both, also you are on the right point, because you can generate both mobile and web application from a single code base. And if imagine you are a single developer developing your project, yeah, you can handle all the stuff. No need anyone.
Great.
Because there is no other cost. There is no addition cost to imagine there is no addition cost to have a web page. There is no addition cost to have OS. There is no addition cost to have a Mac OS desktop application. There is only cost about releasing them on the marketplace. There is no other cost on them. If you are working responsible, making your UI responsible for all of them. You can, Sercan.
Oh, that was
Okay.
about the chat. Good, great. Thank you so much, Sercan, for the presentation, explanation, and
thank
answering
you
the
too,
questions. We have a lot of hearts going on again, and from Esra as well. Yay, Sercan, keep up the great work. And I agree. Please continue sharing. We love hearing from you, getting motivated and inspired to continue. So thanks a lot for joining us today. for GDG Budapest, Flutter Budapest event. And we hope to see you in our future events more. We'd like to see more, hear more about Flutter. I believe to Muriel, if you'd like to say anything else.
Not much, just if anyone is not yet on the Flutter Budapest meetup event, please join there, the group, and we'll be organizing a few events in the upcoming months. So be there. And we also have a Telegram group, which you can join and we can chat around there, or, I don't know, ask questions to one another and interact a bit more. So yeah, that would be it for me. Thanks again, Sercan, for the great talk.
Thanks
I
so
also
much
want
for having me.
I also want to thank Jigmed, who is backstage for all our events, who was the co-organizer of GDG Budapest, WTM Budapest, who's doing a really great job supporting us in technical and the organizing and getting us all together. So thank you once again. We can't see you here, but we hope to see your face in the next events. That's about it for today. Awesome. See you, everyone, all on the next event.
Bye, everyone.
Okay, bye-bye. See you.
Bye-bye.